last year.
Yeah, they've been very patient.
All right. Yes.
Hello? Okay.
Hello. Hello.
This Sheikah technology is so amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it works. Hello, I have a question for Jamie. You said you're the voice actor of Sidon, correct? Because 2 years ago when Bill Rogers last visited here for SacAnime, I've been kind of told that he was the voice actor of Sidon also. Yeah. So unless if I was mistaken or not.
What happened was when the game was announced, I didn't take the credit for it because I'm the director on it, I'm the casting director on it, and I don't want to take anything away from my actors. So I didn't make the announcement. And then Bill started saying, dude, people are thinking that I did the voice. You have to say something. You have to say something. So I didn't say anything for about 2 months. And then Sean gloriously announced on Twitter that I was the voice of Prince Sidon.
Okay, that makes sense right now.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Thank you very much.
Oh, sure, sure.
You guys have to understand, like, Jamie, I know you didn't want to take the credit for it, but Sidon is Jamie, and Jamie is Sidon. The amount of unwavering, unconditional support that Sidon gives to Link throughout the game to the player, that is how Jamie acts to every single one of us. It's incredible.
Thank you, brother.
He is the character. So.
He literally lets Link ride him.
I've seen the images online, so apparently he does.
So everything aside from that, that's what we were talking about when we were talking about Jamie resembling the
I think I need to go to sleep for
Sidon.
100 years. Thank you.
The blood moon rises once again.
Hi there.
Thanks. Hi.
So my question for all of you is, how did you get into your career?
Neopets. I'll start. So I was really bored in doing my Neopets dailies. Thank you, neopetsdailies.com. You're a blessing to all of us. And there was, I don't know, who here watches Adult Swim? Like, who here was really big on Adult Swim like 10 years ago? Okay.
Yeah.
Do any of you remember when they had this really annoying commercial series for Adult Swim of like this pastel neon character going, AdultSwim.com, go check it out, AdultSwim.com. Right. So they were playing that like every 10 minutes, and it was driving me up a wall. So I got so annoyed that I fell for the trap and went to AdultSwim.com. And I found a behind-the-scenes clip of Troy Baker performing as Abel Nightroad in Trinity Blood, and seeing someone in a booth saying lines at the same time their character's mouth was moving is what like lit the flame of, oh, this is a thing that people do. And then back at that time it was, oh, I can be really annoying and obnoxious and get paid for it. So that was what set me down the path. Was I wasn't sure what voiceover was, but I knew that this was the connecting element between all these shows and games that I enjoyed and my natural level of energy, and I wanted to be a part of it. So that's what got me started.
Oh, that's
Thank
a
you,
beautiful
Neopets.
answer.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have been up at 3:20 in the morning on a school night.
AdultSwim.com.
Great origin story.
AdultSwim.com starts careers. AdultSwim.com.
Oh man, that's exactly how I started too. What do you know? Anyway, moving on. I was kidding. I started when I was really young. I was more into figure skating, and figure skating actually led me to then becoming. What are you guys whispering about?
You're saying you're great. I've seen. You know.
She's Canadian, guys. She's Canadian.
I'm American and Canadian, as it turns out now. But yeah. All to say, I've always performed in some capacity, and I've always had a really strong love for using voice. And I grew up with 3 sisters, and we would all sing together and parrot all the jingles and watch all the Disney movies and know them all by heart. Yeah, I know, right? It's like, so I started like that, and then eventually it was in theater school after high school that I started to do voice classes and realized that you could get paid for it. And that it was actually something that you could do as a career, and my mind was completely blown, and I was obsessed with it right away. And I just knew that it was going to be a big part of my career alongside theater and everything else. So I had like a natural obsession for it, and I guess a lot of autonomy in doing it myself and starting my own demos and things like that. And so that led to my first little gigs, which led to very small indie games, which finally led to AAA games. And it wasn't until, I moved to Los Angeles at one point later and then ended up getting into this amazing game, which was crazy, crazy luck, crazy fate.
How funny is that?
How funny, yeah.
It's really funny because actually, when I was casting that, I really wanted very different people on this project. I wanted, and it's a little different than what you're saying, but I'm just following up with what you're talking about, because I've had Joe and Sean in workshops before, and I remember them, and I was like, oh yeah, these guys I got to bring in. And I had heard your singing through your sister.
My sister,
and
who's a singer-songwriter in LA.
She's really talented. And I was like, you know, but she wasn't pursuing acting, but I remember her always talking about you and showing me clips. And I thought, man, this girl is something. She lives in Montreal. And the singing and just her vocal range. And I thought, you know, she might be somebody that's not on the radar of this style of game. And I think you might have done a game or two before that.
I'd done a fair bit in Canada before I came over, but
right.
not in LA.
And then I was like, then she came in, and I didn't prep the client about her yet. And a couple people came in, and all of a sudden she came in, and they just fell over immediately. They knew that she was Zelda.
That's crazy, man. I don't know.
It's true.
Whatever.
It's true.
That's insane.
Yeah, it was great.
So my story is, I was a kid, spent a lot of time in front of the TV, played a lot of video games growing up, went to theater school over at Cal State Fullerton, and did a lot of Shakespeare and all that stuff. While I was down there, I went out for an audition for Disneyland to do character voices in the park. So if any of you guys have been over there at California Adventure, I've been doing the voice of Crush, the sea turtle. Go, dude, go! For about 15 years now.
I got to join you for about 5 months.
For about a half a second, yeah.
My career took me elsewhere.
But over there, I also did the voice of Stitch over in Tomorrowland, if you guys remember that. And that was really sort of my gateway into voiceover. After graduating, I was like, man, I wonder if I should really commit to this whole voiceover thing. So I just started taking classes up in LA, started, to take classes with this guy right here, everything, just learning the trade, learning the craft. And it took years to get off the ground, because it is a beast getting started in voiceover. But I love it, man. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
And you still do that you still do all that on top of doing your Disneyland job full time.
Yeah.
And a family.
Yeah, I got a kid. Yeah, it's crazy. Thank you.
A little baby rock.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so cute. Yeah, it's very funny. At Crush, I was there. Of course, he picked on me while I was in the audience. He was like, "Hey, the third row, good." Oh my God, Jesus. Jesus. He's like, "What's your name?" I'm like, "Joe Hernandez."
Yeah. You want to talk about how you got started?
Well, I come from live action. I come from advertising. I was a producer at a big advertising agency in Chicago, Leo Burnett, for a long time. And then I came out to LA directing TV commercials. And I directed the first Game Boy Pocket commercials, the first N64 commercial, and the first Bomberman commercial. So I've been working on Nintendo for a long time. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a huge Bomberman fan.
So I was doing a lot of live action, and the rep that represented me for directing said, you should really get into games, storytelling, motion capture, and stuff like that. I was like, Centipede, what are you talking about? I had no idea really what she was talking about.
Pac-Man.
Yeah. And then the first game that I directed, because I had graduated from Second City in Chicago, and I did a lot of practicing for training as an actor, but not pursuing acting, just to make me a better writer, director. And then they came to me with this game, EverQuest 2, and it was a big game. And I was like, well, this is very interesting. I read the scripts, and there was thousands and thousands and thousands of pages of script. I mean, we recorded over 2 years for about 8.5 months.
Wow.
So I said, it was 110,000 lines of dialogue. Woo. And I was like, well, this is very interesting. This is very interesting. I really like this. I like the storytelling part of it. And I like directing motion capture. So for me, it's about storytelling, about working with great actors, finding different people, people against type that you're not sure, like, oh, is that exactly someone who would be right for it? Somebody might be perfect for it, but I'm always looking for somebody that might be against the type, depending on the game, of course. So I really enjoy putting the big puzzles together like that.
If I can chime in, Amelia Gotham, who voiced Mifa, was that her first project, or?
She'd done a couple before.
She had done stuff before, but definitely maybe not as big on the sphere, but her performance as Mifa, especially in the DLC, sounded like she'd been doing it for a long time already.
She's a highly trained actor. And that's the biggest thing about voiceover. When people say, oh, they're voiceover actors, it's the hardest acting you could ever do is voiceover acting, because on camera actors, they could have a look. They could just have some goofy thing or something about them that just communicates. But you can't do that. You can't do that in voiceover. It's got to come from your heart. It's got to come it's got to come from your soul, and it's a very difficult thing to do. Not that you can't do it, but it's hard work. It's a lot of hard work to be a good voice actor.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you guys for your patience. We're going to do our best to get through everyone, but thank you so much.
Yeah, totally.
All right.
Oh, yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
I wanted to shout, he's got a but I thought that might be a bad idea for the security.
Very bad idea.
Yeah, no, good idea.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi there.
So between the 4 divine beast guardians, who do you think would win in a duel of wits or strength?
Urbosa.
Urbosa.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
She's scary.
She's my best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She'd kick all of
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say that Rivali could probably just fly above the battlefield and wait for everyone to duke it out and just pick off
Yeah.
the last remaining
Urbosa.
person, but
But
That's exactly something that Rivali would say,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Urbosa, she has power over lightning, doesn't she?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's
Yeah,
like a
you're-
Pokemon. He's just
toast.
dead.
Toast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You look great.
No, thank you. Now I'm scared. All right, everyone team up on Urbosa.
Hi.
Hello.
Other than voice acting, what is your hobbies are you guys interested in?
What is your name?
I'm Steven.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Steven.
Hey, Steven. You know,
Steven's universe.
Where do you guys want to start?
that's a
I don't
tough
want to go
one.
first every time.
Go ahead.
Yes, you do.
Yes, yes, I do.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm a dad, so like, unfortunately, I don't have as much time to devote to anything
Except for
fun.
cleaning up
I
the
don't-
human stables.
I don't have fun anymore. Yeah, my life is over. Yeah, I change dirty diapers and stuff, and watch a lot of cartoons for kids. I like wrestling. I like baseball. So yeah, I'm a big wrestling fan. Shout out to AEW right now. Yeah. That's it's pretty much it.
For me, it's
Comic
like,
books.
I don't mean to blow smoke, but honestly, what I do every day is like a hobby. You know what I mean? I'm reading scripts. I'm working on these unbelievable games. You just direct some live action too still. So much of that is like, if I had a regular job, this is what I would be wanting to do on the side. Yeah. But I do. I'm like a big UFC fan and all that kind of stuff like that. Yeah. They come up for the fights. So really enjoy that. A big movie buff. Do read a lot of books on movies and stuff like that. So live action and storytelling. It's my hobby is my passion. So I really enjoy doing a lot of that. And a hike now and then, maybe.
A hike now and then. Live in the good place for it, my gosh. LA. My big hobby right now is actually, interestingly enough, to what Jamie was saying. One of the things that I had wanted to do for a long time was travel a lot, and that's what I'm doing right now. Almost so much so that I can barely keep track of it. But it's just the best. I really, really love it. The other thing, I have a band, and we are going to be releasing a second album in the fall. Yeah, thanks,
the band
guys. It's a little unoriginal, but it's not my fault. It's called Somerset Band, which is my last name. It used to be called an amalgamation of the two co-founders, but we took the other name off because it just didn't sound right. And he was like, just take that name off. And we're like, fine, we'll call
Van
it
Halen
Somerset.
was taken.
Van Halen was taken away. All to say, it's indie folk, and we've just finished our last mixes, and we're going to be on to mastering and start to live gig a little bit with it. So, yeah, I'll be posting about that very soon.
Bragging about her she's unbelievable singing voice, unbelievable. And some of my favorite voice actors to work with are trained singers. She's like a bell. It's like just perfect, crystal clear, and so nice. And that's why, again, for Zelda, it was like just everybody just fell in love with her.
Jennifer Hale, guys, she's going to be releasing some new albums stuff soon too.
Yeah.
Because she's just got one of those voices.
Oh yeah, Jen. I've directed her for years.
Yeah.
She's just great person too. Yeah.
So I'm really grateful for voice acting because it's the only thing keeping my PhD from being a degenerate meme lord. Literally, like yesterday, right before my flight, I posted an 8-second comic dub of Milo, that new character from the Gen 8 of Pokemon trailer that came out recently. Yeah, I checked it this morning. It's at 18,000 likes, and I'm like, this is not what I was expecting. But so a lot of my hobbies tend to revolve around video games, which may not be surprising. In Smash Brothers, I'm currently the #1 Mega Man player on the West Coast, top 3 in the United States
Oh my gosh,
for the
Sean.
character.
Did not know that. What?
It actually, we caused a hullabaloo because 2GG, which is this big gaming organization, they had a Hyrule Saga like earlier this year. So it was like a Legend of Zelda themed tournament. And the highest placing Link player in that tournament and myself both placed 22nd out of like 580 people. So people are like, this is the story, Rivali and Link are neck and neck, you know, neither is better than the other. So you know, whenever I'm feeling down, I just go on Wi-Fi and destroy people's dreams for a couple hours. I'm also a huge fan of dungeon crawler video games. So Demon Gaze, Etrian Odyssey, Operation Babel, Operation Abyss. I play those games start to finish, 100% hardest difficulty. I actually co-wrote the English mechanics guide for Demon Gaze after QA testing it with NIS America. So I'm definitely a big game player, and that is what makes up a big part of my life, as well as my portfolio, as it so happens.
But have you ever changed a dirty diaper?
No, my wife does it for me. So
He plays a lot. Yeah.
look, man, when I'm focused on Smash, I don't have time to take care of myself, okay? Literally. But anyway, so yeah, that's my big focus. I also love supporting, you know, the communities that I get to be a part of. I got these custom plushes from Sophie Stitches on Twitter. She does incredibly amazing. Yes, take a look. Yeah. They are handmade from scratch, and they were fantastic. Oh, wow. There was this woman yesterday who, within 24 hours of the trailer coming out, she had made a Minky plush of Wooloo, the new sheep Pokemon, and I managed to snag that. So I love supporting these communities, these artists who do commissions and contribute so much to these worlds that we get to be a part of. So yeah, that's basically what happens is I kill my time with video games, I make money with my career, and why are we laughing now? What's going on?
Stealing each other's water.
No, just passing water.
I'm hydrated. I'm good, man.
Yeah.
And then I spend everything I make on merch. Yay! Also, my Twitter is @SonicMega, and if you want free merch, follow it, because every time a game or project comes out that I voiced in, I give away free copies of it, and they're usually limited edition.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
I do the same thing, @JoeHernandezVO. Yeah, I do whenever, you know, cool stuff comes out, or I think when we celebrated, the 2-year anniversary of Breath of the Wild, I did a giveaway and all that stuff. So.
When Breath of the Wild came out, I gave out a Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
I bought it with my own money and just mailed it out.
It's kind of a cool way to give back and just connect with fans, man.
It's my way of apologizing for all the memes I post.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was the most long-winded answer ever.
That's why I have to have a lot of giveaways.
Hi there.
Yay!
Hi. Oh, you look great.
Oh, you look awesome.
I'm very confused right now. Which one is which?
For those of you who are fans of the Zelda series before being cast in these roles, what is your favorite game or games from the series and why?
So, from the Legend of Zelda series?
Yes.
So, my first game of the series that I remember playing was Link's Awakening, which, woo, it's getting remade for Switch! Let's go! All right. This is mini story. Show of hands, how many people have played Link's Awakening? Okay. Keep your hands up if you remember the puzzle room where you had to kill the enemies in a specific order in order to get the dungeon key. 8-year-old me could not figure out how to do that. So my parents were busy shopping for furniture at Art Van Furniture Store in the Midwest. So what does 8-year-old me do? He finds the regional store manager and asks him to help. Now, bless his heart, the guy didn't know what I was talking about, but he knew that he had a daughter who was in college at the time. So he calls his daughter while she's in college to ask her if she knows anything about this puzzle room in Link's Awakening. She didn't, and I did eventually figure it out. But that was, you know, this guy just so shamelessly decided to try and help me beat this dungeon that was kicking my butt, and that's always made it a nice memory for me.
They wouldn't do that for you at IKEA.
So, in honor of that, like when the new remake comes out, I'm gonna take a copy of the new Link's Awakening and go to an Art Van Furniture Store and just give it to the regional manager. He's gonna be so confused, but it'll be worth it.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. You keep emptying my brain, both from shock
All right,
and
you
from
go
awe.
before me from now on.
I'm
You
just
go
like,
before me.
Storyland.
Yeah.
If I was a nostalgist, which I am, I would say the original, just because it's the first one that I played, and we had a NES in our house, and that's what I remember growing up and playing with my sisters. But I would say the other one would probably be Ocarina of Time, just because that was, for me, was high school time, and it sort of blew my mind, the images in that game, and the sense of humor in that game was so phenomenal. I just remember finding it so funny, and I still. Like the Zelda games, the sense of humor that they have in the script is it's just ridiculous. It's amazing. It's one of my favorite parts of it. I remember, probably those two.
Yeah, I remember playing the original, but I was sort of leaning towards Mario a little more, but the original for me.
Yeah. I was a big fan of the entire series since the original, but you know, growing up, I had an older brother who kind of hogged the NES and the Super NES, so I really didn't get a chance to play that much, you know, the original games. It wasn't until the 64 came around, and then I got a chance to play Ocarina of Time and Wind Waker for me. Both of those, it's kind of a tie, because I spent so many hours, and it's like, finally, I have like a Zelda game that I could play all to myself. Those are very close and personal to me, and obviously Breath of the Wild.
I woke up sobbing the evening that I beat Ocarina of Time. Like, I woke up from my sleep sobbing because I was so angry that Navi left, spoilers, that Navi left Link at the end of the game. And my dad came in to console me, and I feel so bad for him because he thought I was like sick and throwing up. So imagine being a 45-year-old father trying to like, you're trying to figure out what's wrong with your kid, and your kid is sad because some little soot sprite decided to leave a forest elf.
No, I have a distinct memory, and I don't know if it was Ocarina of Time or Wind Waker, maybe you guys know, but Link goes to Death Mountain and he meets the Gorons for the first time, and I just remember being like, first of all, I like the music. I love the music in that area, and it was just like, I really like these guys. And just for whatever reason, I was fascinated by the Gorons, you know, even at an early age, and then it was just so weird and serendipitous that I'd be voicing a frickin' Goron. Like, believe me, like it's not lost on me, man. Like, it's super surreal, man.
Sean we've just worked with Sean on something that we can't talk about yet, but there was something that he just, it was squeal, cry, run to the bathroom again. And that was a pretty big moment for you.
To give you an idea, like most of the time when a game comes out, I'll give out like a copy of it. If it's something that I'm really proud of, I'll give out 2 or 3. When this project comes out, I'm not gonna say whether it's a show or a game or whatever, but when this project comes out, I'm gonna give out 5. Like that's how much it. I'm so excited.
It was awesome. The client, even the client was like, "Oh my God, he really likes this," you know. It was great.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, round of applause for the people still standing. Like, I would not be able to stand that long.
How are you doing, by the way?
Hello. We got about 20 minutes.
Okay, before I get to my question, Sean, your puns, you're talking about your memes and all your stories. I think I might be falling in love with you.
I'm so sorry your bar has been set so low.
He just did it again, didn't he? He just did it again.
my ideal man. So
use Rivali's Gale. Get it up higher.
So my question is, so all of your characters in Breath of the Wild, if they were in a D&D adventure party, what class and race would they be?
You'd have to help me out.
Bard. He'd be the bard. His squawking would be misinterpreted as singing, but it would also cause debuffs on the party instead of buffs.
Like a Kenku bard?
Like, oh, actually, no. Actually, it would work out, because he'd pull all the aggro. He'd die in the first battle, but then all of you could gang up on the boss afterwards, so.
Sean, you're going to have to help me out. What would Sidon be?
What?
What would Sidon be?
Oh, man. Paladin.
Paladin.
Yep.
Sounds good to me.
What would Zelda be for you?
Really?
Yeah, no, because I feel like you're, I'm just, again, back to shock and awe.
Which sounds cooler to you, warlock or
healer,
warlock or sorcerer?
Probably a sorcerer.
A sorcerer?
It would probably be what I would think, but
yeah.
And you think a healer?
I think you'd be some sort of a healer, yeah.
Yeah,
so you have to forgive
like a
me.
Cleric or something.
I'm not D&D. I'm kind of new age, and like I'm more like WoW, like World of Warcraft. That's my jam. So if we could talk WoW, I'd be like, oh yeah, man, I'd be like a friggin' level 95 Tauren tank, taking all that aggro and like that would be Daruk. Like he's totally tank. my D&D speak isn't what it should be. So
Let me put it this way: you'd be a barbarian, but you wouldn't wield a weapon because you would just grab the nearest enemy and use them as an improvised weapon.
Sounds about right. Yeah. So I hope that
My
helps.
weapon is goblin.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
Hello?
Hi, rebel scum.
My question for all of you is, if you could spend a day with any Nintendo character or characters, who would it be and why?
Let's see. I should say Link.
What ranking is this
I should
panel?
say Link too, I guess.
Yeah. Let's see. That's
I'm
a
not
tough
going
one.
first on this one. No.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh man, I gotta put it on me, dude.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
It's a good question.
Urbosa, dude. Urbosa's just so badass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So badass. And those abs. Those abs. Oh my gosh, you could wash your laundry on that abs.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wait. Abs?
abs.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
I know it's generic, but I'd say Zelda. I'd say Zelda.
Oh,
She always has,
thanks, guys.
she always has something nice to say,
Yeah.
pleasant, lives in a nice pad, So I think Zelda would be mine.
Is this from any video game or Legend of Zelda specifically?
Well, I said Nintendo, so that can be,
Nintendo.
it could be
Okay.
Legend of Zelda or, Mario or any of the
Oh,
other
bro,
franchises.
if we're going Nintendo, my man Wario. My man Wario.
Good answer.
We gonna hop on that motorcycle. We gonna run some people over. We're gonna eat things, eat people, and fart on them. That is how we roll.
I always played as him during Mario Party, so I really want to make friends with a Yoshi. I really do. I just imagine, it's winter, you're sitting inside, you get some hot cocoa, one of your marshmallows gets stolen, and you follow the tongue back, and you hey, and you get a response of, how can you get mad? How can you get mad at that face?
Wow, Sean. You're the best.
I promise
Really
I've only
is.
had 3 shots of
Learning a
vodka
lot.
before this panel.
I know you're lying. You don't need anything to be like this. I was gonna say Princess Peach because first I was gonna be like, I think we'd have a bone to pick, and I was like, no, actually I think we'd get on really well, and we'd have like a really nice chat, and then we'd go and like take over the world together. But the other thing, and I think this kind of comes back to my love of nature, I'd probably have a really nice time hanging out with a hot-footed frog all day long, because that's what I do in real life. So yeah, a frog, a hot-footed frog.
Oh,
Nice.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
Good
I love
afternoon.
the confidence.
Good
You
afternoon.
walked up with such a strong chest.
It's his shirt.
Yes.
It's because of that lady over there.
Oh, does she give you confidence?
10 years of confidence.
Oh my goodness! Congratulations.
Nice.
First off, you guys are all amazing people, so thank you for having this panel.
Very kind.
My question is for all of you. If you can be any reincarnation of Link from any Zelda game, which one would you be and why?
Any reincarnation of Link? That just seems impossible for me to answer. I'm like, but I can't because I don't know.
I got my Toon Link shirt going on right now.
Wind Waker.
Again, big fan of Wind Waker.
Yeah.
Big fan. I know they're, depending on who you ask, they're like, Wind Waker, whatever. I love the animation. It was just so beautiful, so fluid. I freaking, roamed around the entire map, just checking things out and just sailing all over because it was just gorgeous, and the music and everything about it was just. Again, Ocarina of Time, friggin' Wind Waker. It's a tie for me. But I just love the animation style. So Toon Link. Yeah.
Twilight Princess Link because he looks awesome, and Wolf, and what else? Yeah.
Doge Link.
What was that?
Doge Link.
Doge Link.
Mine is 2-part. It's which one would I want to be, and which one do I deserve? Which one do I want to be is Twilight Princess Link. 1, because my wife is 4'10", so Midna. 2nd, because he gets to turn into a wolf. Who hasn't wanted to be a cool animal at least once in their life? Which one do I deserve? Well, I know at least once my wife has said, do you want to go get Starbucks? And I replied, great, I'll grab my stuff. Let us go, young wife.
Well, I'm going to give it generic. I'm going to say Ocarina of Time. You know, yeah.
Just because it's one of the best games, and he wants to be the best Link.
Exactly.
Yeah, very good game. Anyways, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Buddy. Thanks for the question.
Just so you guys know, we got about 15 minutes left.
We're going to do a lightning round or not?
I think we got some time.
We got time.
Come on up.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm glad the mic got progressively lowered up to my turn. So I definitely share an interest maybe in a different area. Same thing in game development, going to college for it.
Oh, cool. Good.
Awesome.
For you. Great for you.
I'm hoping, like, what was that experience like just working on the game with the team and, like, just being in that environment probably for days on end?
You mean just sort of like working on a game from beginning to end? Well, I guess now at this point we've all worked on several, and I feel like it's a bit of a different experience every time you do it. It entirely depends on whether you go in and you're part of the interactive part of a process, whether you're doing motion capture or dub work, or you get to improv in the room or not. I would say almost all of the time it's a positive experience because most of the people in that room are going to be supportive, warm, have a certain amount of prep behind them, and it's just generally a really nice working environment. On your side, that's challenging. That's when you go into game development and you develop it from the back end up. I can't really speak to that. I think it would be a very different experience, but hopefully one that's extraordinarily rewarding. And I hope you choose games that you're passionate about to work on, because you'll be working on them for a long time.
I'm so glad you used that word, because I was about to say I think one of the biggest connecting elements between voiceover and game dev is that element of passion. Because this may sound anticlimactic, but the recording process for Breath of the Wild really was not any different from what we would do for any other video game. You've got the director, it varies. There are elements, but like you've got a director, you've got the sound engineer, you've got the script in front of you. Sometimes you have a video to follow, but the actual recording process doesn't change very much. So you have to come in with this element of personal investment, whether it's investment in the character, investment in the franchise, confidence in yourself, even if you know nothing about the project, that you believe in yourself and that you can portray this character that you've been cast as. If you come in and you're not attached, you just don't, your heart's not in it, you are not going to be able to give a performance, one, that you are proud of, and two, that people want to experience again and again. The same way, Miyamoto saying, a delayed game is eventually good, a bad game is forever bad. If you are willing to put in the time and effort to develop a good game, it's something that you'll be able to reflect back on and be proud of throughout your entire life. So I think the best products come out when you've got passionate game developers working with passionate actors who are all coming together. It's a collaborative effort to take this idea, this concept, and give it life. So it really it's teamwork.
It's very much so a trickle-down sort of thing, because I work with the developers from beginning to end, on these projects. So before the actors even get, way before the actors get involved, and looking at scripts, early scripts, and things like that. For me, it's just such a unbelievable process, and like Sean and Patricia are talking about, the passion, having that excitement for storytelling, because that's what you're doing. You're telling stories, and whether it's RPG or not, and what we've been doing, it's really about. For my experience, it's always exciting when I have a client that's usually they're very nervous by the time they get to me, because they've been working on it for a couple of years already, and seeing how their energy level about how much they're invested, it gets me excited. So then it becomes mine then. So then I take it as, now I'm as passionate about it as they are, and I care about it as much as they do. So my idea is always you either care or you don't. Either you're 100% or you're not. And so every time whatever project I work on, I remember directing a little Crayola project one time. It was like a 2-day project, and I was really into it. And they were like, "Oh wow, thank you for being so invested in our game." And I am very invested, and it's all a trickle down from the developers, because you guys are the ones that are creating this idea and creating this other world that nobody could imagine.
I cannot tell you how many times I've seen something that prior to that I didn't even know it existed. You know, some new game concept that someone created, and I go, I didn't know this existed, but now I want to be a part of it. So, like, legit, thank you for giving us a reason to be so enthusiastic about this. When I think about the stuff that's going to come out in the next 5 years that right now hasn't even been put down on paper, like, it's incredibly exciting.
The stuff that I can't talk about that I'm working on now, it's really groundbreaking. Some of it's so amazing.
Unfortunately, I can't speak too much about the game development side, but I can tell you there was a heightened sense of pressure, at least for me, going into it once I did find out that it was Zelda. And I know you guys all we had Nintendo people there that were there recording. So yes, we had the director, yes, we had the engineer, but then we also had, you know, some producers and localization people from Nintendo that flew down from Washington. So there's that little added sense of pressure. And you guys were great. Everybody was super nice. As Patricia had said, everybody wants everyone else to succeed because ultimately it's for the greater good of what we're trying to do. That being said, Joe, as a fan of the series, having grown up playing this franchise since my childhood, I put a lot of pressure on myself. You know, I put my best foot forward into any work that I do. This one even more so, where it's like, man, you want it to be so freaking perfect. And it's like, there were times where I would get down on myself because it's like, gosh, you know, and again, Jamie, everybody at Nintendo, super nice, super supportive, all that stuff. The pressure I put was entirely on myself because I know what comes with this franchise, and I know, you know, how passionate the fans are. So I hope that answers the question.
I get
Jamie, I don't know if you knew this, but I actually broke down crying on the phone to my mentor during my first session as Rivali, because Rivali went in a bit of a different direction than I expected I was going to go when we went in. And so when we took our break and I was still trying to refigure out the character, I was so scared about not giving him the performance I wanted him to have, and so nervous about how Zelda had not had a good history with voice acting in the games that I knew it was going to be scrutinized more than usual, and I was so scared I couldn't give him what I wanted him to have, and it overwhelmed me. And what Joe said is, no one else in that booth wanted me to fail. It was me putting all that pressure on myself.
It's occupational insecurity sometimes because, you know, as an actor, they have to come in with an open heart, and it's my job to create a very safe atmosphere. An atmosphere where they could fail and not have to worry about being judged, that it's okay to fail, you know, in a moment, and let's come back from that, and let's try this, and not fail. But I mean, in a moment, maybe the line's not quite right, and maybe, well, let's move this character a little more this way, and maybe it's not the way you thought it would be from the beginning, like Sean's talking about, but we need to move it towards this direction. But you create a safe environment because I know how the actors feel, because I trained myself as an actor, again, before I was talking about to pursue writing and directing, but understanding that, oh, geez, that there's a very vulnerable feeling as an actor when you're in there, and the more you do it, the more advanced actors get. They manage it better. They manage it, but there's always still that every big celebrity you could possibly imagine has that little feeling of like, is this right? Am I doing right? So you're always trying to create a very
5 minutes left.
A very safe atmosphere.
5 minutes.
Oh, 5 minutes.
Real quick to piggyback off of what you just said, and we've talked about this before, the voices and everything, the characterizations that you hear, that's not where we start off on day one. You know, it's a process that you're constantly refining things, and it's a collaborative effort where everybody is just coming together, and it's like, gosh, you know, there are times where I can hear my performance and it's like, okay, I think I probably recorded that like early on, you know, and then you just constantly just refine it and whittle away, and it's like, gosh, you know, it's about ending up at a certain spot. Yeah.
I know that we have almost no time. I wanted to say one more thing. If you're a game developer and you're just getting into the industry, if I could give you one bit of advice, I would say remember that the world is very, very small, and that you might be working on a tiny indie game or a massive AAA game, and you will meet the same people oftentimes. And so remember that there are no small projects, there are only small people or big people within that industry. So strive to do great work on whatever project you're working on, because you never know which company you're going to be going to, where it might take you next. Yeah. It's like to be a professional is that's first and foremost, whatever you're working on.
My
That's what I was
audition notice for this project came from a studio that had no relevant connection to the project. It was, hey, a partner studio is looking for auditions for this game. So if I had never had a relationship with that first studio, I would have never heard about this opportunity. So just treat every opportunity as if it's meaningful to you. Make it meaningful to you because you have no idea where that next chance is going to come from.
Yep.
I'm very
I could talk-
passionate about games.
Good.
Oh, good for you.
And I hope
Awesome.
that you guys
All right.
To the world. And
Urbosa's lightning round. Let's go.
Hi there.
All right, thanks for your time. Next person. No, I'm just kidding.
Hello.
you doing?
So you mentioned in the last question that you had interacted with Nintendo people. Have you ever interacted with any of the big three, like Miyamoto, Iwata, Reggie?
I got to take a selfie with Reggie in his sunglasses before the E3 Smash Invitational. I'm also on camera. Someone made a GIF image of me making like a very happy face about Mega Man being in the game. So that's a permanent part of my legacy now.
So Patricia, Elizabeth, and I were all at the Game Awards, what was it, like 2 years ago, and Reggie was there. So we've occupied the same theater. We've, shared the same air.
Yeah.
It's
I've
kind of
worked
the
with
same
a
thing,
lot of
right?
the executives, but I've never met Reggie or any of them because I'm usually in Los Angeles, so I'm not going out, and they're not coming in town. So there'll be some phone calls with different executives and stuff like that.
But E3 is next week, and I'm going to be there, so maybe.
I can talk to them. Hello.
Hi there.
Hi.
This is mostly for Jamie, but if you want to join in, you can. Was the decision to have a mute player character designed such that we as players could project onto the character? Like, was that a
For Link?
decision like that? Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. That was something where, not my decision, but if Link was voiced, I think some people would like it, and maybe some people wouldn't. And I don't think they wanted to take that chance. They wanted to keep him mute and have whatever the player's imagination, what he would be like. I think it would be a really gutsy move to voice Link, but I don't think they really didn't want to. It's unnecessary. You know what I mean?
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's really unnecessary. So that was definitely a decision.
I've always kind of equated Legend of Zelda in my experience to like a Japanese version of Mad Max because the story is never about Link or what he does. It's about the world that he's affecting and the people that he's involved with. You know, in Mad Max, the main character, he doesn't say a whole lot, but he helps out these folks with he learns about their problems, he assists them in solving them, and then he moves on to the next adventure. And that's kind of Link. You know Link, but you remember Zelda, you remember Revali, you remember Sidon. It's about the world, not just the player.
And Link, I always kind of equated to like almost like a silent film, where you look at some old silent films and you don't need dialogue. They're just so brilliantly, the story's so brilliantly told, and I think that's the way I look at Link, and I don't want to hear him, you know.
Thank you.
Neither do I.
What's that?
Better seen and not heard.
Yeah, there you go. And just in case, if we do have to close down, if you guys have questions later, we're going to be on the floor.
Yeah.
And
please
if
come
there's any
up.
questions that you guys had like specifically for me, you can always ask at my autograph session. Like,
we got autographs later today.
Just in case.
We'll be doing photos.
Yeah,
we
yes,
got
that's
another
right.
panel on Sunday, so if you
Yeah,
guys
yeah,
are
yeah.
here the whole weekend, we'll be back.
Questions are only $50 at the autograph session.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Per second.
So my question for all of you is, what tips would you give on becoming a voice actor?
I can do this. No, you guys go first.
You know, something I was going to actually say with that girl that does the game developing, find like-minded people. It's super, super, super important to find people that support you with what you want to pursue creatively. And that doesn't necessarily go with being a voice actor. It could be you want to be a plumber, find yourself people that are really into plumbing, that are, support your cause. If you want to be a painter, so on and so forth. So it's important to have like a really good, healthy, supportive, nurturing environment with like-minded people.
Definitely get yourself a group of people that are pursuing the same thing you are. Make sure you have a good mic. Make sure you got some good software, and practice, and be critical of each other gently, but be critical of each other and work on that. And take some acting classes because it is all about acting. A lot of people can do funny voices and different things, but when you look at a script and apply that voice to that and interpret that script and those lines of dialogue, it's a very different world. So the biggest thing is acting, and if you want a shortcut for that, see if there's any good improv classes to kind of get you kind of used to walking and talking and being uncomfortable in front of people and saying words that you're not used to saying, and then get a really strong acting class while you're working on your voice. Because a lot of times people are like, oh, well, I can't do funny voices. You don't have to do funny voices. You have to just be really good at your own voice first. Be really good at your own voice, and you could get into voice acting. And then you start layering it with an accent, with age or different personalities and behaviors, but be very good at your own voice first.
D. Bradley Baker, who is an incredible voice actor, has a website called iwanttobeavoiceactor.com. That would probably be the first place that you might want to check out, because there's a just tremendous amount of resources if you're starting off, kind of give you the lay of the land as far as, you know, who to take as far as classes and, you know, so on and so forth. So that would be my advice to you.
Great.
In addition to that, sorry, I was just waiting to see if you're going to add. In addition to that, voiceactingmastery.com, voiceactingclub.com, and voiceovervoiceactor.com. We don't have time to go into each of those, but go to each of those sites. There's plenty to learn or resources that you can find there.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're also on Twitter, so you can find us on there and hit us up there. I think we're all pretty cool about reaching out and answering questions and all that. So let's do a quick Twitter blast. So what is your Twitter
Jamie,
again?
you also have a workshop. Jamie, your workshop. Pitch that.
Well, that's tomorrow.
Oh, it's tomorrow.
Workshop, yeah.
Okay.
A voiceover workshop tomorrow from 2 to 4.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And follow him on Twitter,
Thank
JD
you.
Mortellaro.
JD Mortellaro. Thank you, guys.
You can find me on Twitter at Joe Hernandez VO. Same thing with Instagram, although I'm not really on Instagram, but Twitter's probably a good place.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm at Somerset_ on Twitter and Instagram.
At Sonic Mega if you have nothing better to do with your night.